that's kind of the mindset we all have, is how can we make this next generation of employees or chefs better than us? And that's kind of, we share our skills. I don't hold back on anything that I've learned over my career. I share that with all of our team. So I just want them to be the best.
Welcome back to the Restaurantology podcast. So excited to have my newest partners in the fold. You know, I do this podcast only when it makes sense for me. And a lot of things have been going on over the last several months where it hasn't made sense. But now we have exciting stuff to talk about. So that's why I thought we'd get back together. We've been busy at Savory, and one of the things that we've done probably the last 6 months is really reset, the brands that we want to be involved in with Fun 3, what our focus is, what the trends are. And something I know a little bit about, as you guys know, is bakery and cafe. I started in this industry in bakery and cafe, and I actually owned, for the people that are listening, 50 bakery and cafes. And they were hard. They were very hard. And it was because we actually baked everything on site of every single restaurant. And I didn't think I was ever going to get back into this industry again, ever, until I met you two yahoos. And then I was like, okay, I like the guys. And then I loved the concept, loved the product, and I love your system. So I can't wait to talk about that more and unpack it today on how you guys have really created, I think, something that is really going to rival anything that's out there. I really believe that. And if not, I wouldn't have joined forces with you. So thank you for, of course, not trusting just me, but the entire team at Savory. We're super excited.
So are we, man. We're pumped to be part of this and to see our future growth. I mean, once we first started, our relationship together, I was like, man, this guy gets it. No, we're just really, really excited.
How does it feel before and then after doing a transaction? For those that have not done one, what does it feel like? Like before, because I haven't been on your side of the table for a long time, but I have been there. But I'm just saying, for you guys now, you guys are entrepreneurs. You've been entrepreneurs for a long time in your life, restaurateurs now as well. But doing a transaction with someone like a Savory, is it nerve-wracking, intimidating?
Yeah.
What would you say? And either of you can start. So
yeah, I think it's at the very beginning, it's nerve-wracking. Having the Savory team come in, seeing everything.
It's a little vulnerable, isn't it?
Yes.
Like you have to kind of like lift up the skirt.
Yep. And then we see our flaws.
Yeah,
you know, we kind of nitpick ourselves. And then at that point, with the Savory team comes in, and then I think our deal is a little bit different. We had some hiccups.
Yeah.
So
a couple that we're going to talk about today too.
Yeah, I think that was the biggest thing. But once we got past all that, now it's just kind of moving forward. And our whole team is ready to kind of move forward, enjoy the journey.
Yeah. I like that one. Enjoy the journey. Because it is a journey getting to the point where you actually do a transaction. And now the journey for new growth has just begun. So it's almost chapters in a journey, right? Yep. What about for you though, Chris, as far as just how did it feel before and then how does it feel now after?
I think before, being a restaurateur prior to Bonrue, I think, when you sell a single unit, right? When you sell a single restaurant, one location, that process is so, now looking back on it, I was like, man, that was so easy. Right. But now we're 3 locations with a coffee shop additional, and then a warehouse and things like that. And then just having more moving parts. I think it was just, I know it sounds so cliche, but it was almost just, let's take it one day at a time. Let's trust who we're doing business with. And the Savory team was exceptional along the way. I mean, the person that I was dealing with was fantastic. And it wasn't like when Lee mentioned hiccups, we didn't necessarily see them as, I didn't see them as a hiccup. I saw them as almost like an opportunity to see how we would tackle some hardships.
Yeah.
Right. And we did it on our end. You did it on your end. And the positive mentality, there was no negative mentality. There was no, oh gosh. It was just like, cool. Okay. This is a little obstacle and we're just going to overcome it.
Yeah. Well, we had a lot of them. And when I say a lot, more than typical, and we're going to go through those today, but let's just start real quick. So Chris, where are you from? And then how did you get into the F&B industry? I want to hear from both you and then of course you, Lee, but let's talk about basically your background so that others that listen can go, yep, I did the same thing, or that's kind of my background too.
Cool. Grew up in Las Vegas, born in actually the high desert of California, what was a little small town called Apple Valley. Moved to Las Vegas. My family and
You
I
couldn't
moved
get out of the desert. You went from desert to desert.
desert to desert, no doubt. And we moved to Las Vegas in 1986. Went to grade school there, high school there. My first job was at the Mirage. I was a lifeguard at the Mirage pool.
No kidding.
Yeah.
The Mirage,
Yeah.
it's now going to be Hard Rock.
It's now going to be Hard Rock. But
Yep.
when the Mirage opened in, I think it was 88, 89, that was the spot. That was the pool.
In Vegas, that was it.
You had to know someone to get a job there. You had to be juiced in, as we called it in Vegas. And I was so lucky because I played Little League Baseball with one of the higher ups at the Mirage. So he's
okay.
like, yeah, so
That was your juiced in.
that was my juiced in. And he's like, hey, I could get you a job as a lifeguard. And I got a job as a lifeguard. They treated their employees so well there. And I learned so much about customer service, and orientation was 2 days, 3 days. They walk you around the property. You had employee meals that were free, and it was just amazing. It was just
cool.
a phenomenal experience. I worked my way up, went from lifeguard to pool supervisor. Then I managed the pool. I was like 20 years old, and I was managing 45 people. No
Look at
clue,
you, Mr. Manager.
no clue what I was doing. And then became a cabana host, took care of like the casino VIPs, the whales, as some people
The
call
whales
them.
of losing.
Yes. And then they promoted me to a manager at the spa and salon. Once again, no clue what I was doing, but I learned. And then they put me back out to run the cabanas. I had a staff of 18, and that's where I met a hotel guest, and they said, hey, you've been doing this for 2 years, and we have a group of sushi restaurants in San Diego, and we need a general manager. And we've
No
seen
kidding. I
what
didn't
you've
even
been
know that.
doing. Yeah. And so while I was running the cabanas, I also had a part-time job as a VIP host at a nightclub. The nightclub was called Rain Nightclub. And when I was a VIP host there, Rain Nightclub was the #1 nightclub in the world, rated by E Entertainment
No
magazine.
kidding.
Remember E
Oh, of
Entertainment?
course, yeah.
So, taking care of celebrities and things like that. It was the first like mega nightclub in Las Vegas. It was at the Palms. It was owned by the Maloofs.
Said the Maloofs on the Palms.
Yep.
And then I remember that era now.
So, that guest came in and they offered me a job, and moving to San Diego. At the time, my fiance, who is now my wife, 18 years, and we had no kids, and she was like, yeah, we're going
Let's
to
go
move
to San Diego. Let's get the hell out of
Absolutely.
this desert.
Yeah. So, and that's kind of where I fell in love with the restaurant industry. I had very little idea of the restaurant industry. I was a server part-time at a country club, probably 3 years prior. And my friend hired me. He's like, man, we just need servers. You could do it. It's fine. I was the absolute worst server ever. He's like,
I
gave
wouldn't
me a
actually
4.
guess that, right?
It
He's so
explains a
personable.
lot why the POS is a little challenge for Chris.
And
That does explain a lot.
I always, and he's like, listen, I gave you a 4-table station. You were talking too much to your customers.
Explains some other reasons why.
And so he's like, dude, I'm just going to give you a 2-table section. And he's like, do you care about tips? I'm like, I don't care about tips. This is awesome. Like, this is
I
fun.
love talking to people.
Yeah. And then with the sushi restaurant, I just really became focused on being a good leader. And they were somewhat failing. And then I went in there, changed a couple things, and then we started seeing a rise in
Phenomenal.
profits and things like that. And it was a fantastic experience. I learned kind of things what not to do and what to do. I mean, very valuable lessons. And then
But that's where you fell in love with food initially, was at a sushi restaurant.
fell in love with it. I love sushi now, probably
So do
because
I.
of it.
Love
I just
Like sushi?
Of course.
Of course. Okay.
I love it. So they actually sold. They sold their locations. They sold their restaurant, and They sold it to like a group of Japanese businessmen who said, listen, it's going to be family run. So we have no need for you. Cool. Fine. No big deal. Went back to Las Vegas and I interviewed for a job at a 1 Michelin star restaurant. It was called Mix. It was from a chef called Alain Ducasse. And it was the reason I was hired is because I had restaurant experience and nightclub experience because it was a restaurant and lounge.
Got it. Yep.
High-end French cuisine. Worked there for 4 or 5 years. And then that kind of drove me to open up my own place. Knew nothing about opening a restaurant. I just knew I wanted to do my own thing.
Yeah. So what was your first one when you opened it?
So it was a breakfast, lunch, dinner cafe. It was a place in Las Vegas. It was called Rachel's Kitchen. I was the first franchisee. Later, I was director of franchise operations. We had at the time I was there, I think we had 5 locations total. Sold that back to the franchise. Owned it for 5 years. So at the end of 2014, I sold it. Moved to Springdale, Utah, and that's kind of like how we fell in love with Southern Utah.
And Springdale's right on the mouth of the Zion Canyon.
Yes.
So people that travel to Utah, you go to Zion National Park.
Yep.
That's where Springdale is.
Yep. And I tried to get something going there. Almost treated it like just some time off, 4 or 5 months off, but wanted to open something there. And we just couldn't get a nice piece of land or anything like that going. And we had a deal almost done. Person backed out at the last second. And then the next day, the old landlord that I did business with Rachel's Kitchen, it was a company called Vestar. Great company. Big developer. The vice president who I had a good relationship with called me and he's like, hey, Chris, when we were walking the property a couple months ago, you said that these guys are going to go out of business and you do a taco shop there. I was like, oh, yeah, I remember saying that. And he's like, well, they went out of business. Do you want to do a taco shop? And I was like, yeah, let's do it.
Of course I do.
So we moved back to Vegas. And that's where
you met Mr. Lee.
I met Mr. Lee. I knew Lee prior to. He worked with my wife, Stacy. They were cabana hosts at Mandalay Bay.
Look at you.
Yep.
I didn't know that.
Yep. Started at.
So you already knew his wife before he knew him?
Yes.
Or knew her? Okay.
She was like, this dude is exactly like you. He goes into restaurants. He wants to see how many square feet they have, how many employees there, what their price point is, all that, and then try to do the numbers. And then we met Lee, and Lee's really good at things I am terrible at. And I was like, this is gonna be
perfect. He's the yin to my yang. Yep. Okay, so you need to pause there. Then Lee, get us caught up to that point in your story too. Tell us about yourself. Where are you from?
Yep.
Where are you originally from?
San Francisco.
Yep. And tell us your upbringing and then how you got into the food business meeting with this guy.
So I grew up in the food business.
Okay.
My grandpa used to own restaurants in Korea, and they decided to move to the U.S. So they came out to the Bay Area. They found a place called Marin County.
Oh, yeah.
Right. The first town in Marin County is Sausalito.
Mm-hmm.
We built a Chinese restaurant there in 1982. At the high, we got it to 3 restaurants. And
all in Marin County.
Okay. Restaurant was the hub of the whole family.
Yeah. The whole family worked there.
Yeah.
All the cousins, aunts, uncles.
Yeah. We had the restaurant in the back. We had a warehouse that we remodeled. It had a kitchenette in it, had a living room, had bedrooms. And every day, all my cousins would get dropped off. And all my uncles and my aunts would go to work.
Awesome.
So my grandma took care of me. My grandpa took care of me, took care of all of us. And that's how I got into it. So as a kid, I would help my grandpa fix things around the restaurant. We would go to Home Depot, go to Ace Hardware, tinker with stuff. Something would break, we would fix it.
And that was really your school, right? Like that's where you fell in love with just tinkering and figuring stuff out.
That's where I learned most of that. And then for me, we had another restaurant. We had a little to-go restaurant. That was the one that my dad ran. So every day I would get dropped off to school. My dad would go to work. And then we would close for like 10 minutes. He'd go pick me up from school. Did all my homework at that restaurant. Did everything there. Came to college. And as an Asian family, you either become a doctor, lawyer, or accountant.
Is that just in the book?
That's in the book. That's in the that's in the game plan.
Pick one of these 3.
Yes.
Yeah.
Didn't work for me. I wanted to do restaurants. And, my grandpa was not happy with it at the beginning, but then my dad's like, this is the life that he grew up in. So it's only reasonable that he does this. So I went to UNLV, moved to Las Vegas, went to UNLV, did their hotel beverage program.
Which is one of the better ones.
It's the best one.
It's the best one. Okay.
Yes.
I thought I was going to say, is it top 3?
Cornell and UNLV go back and forth, but during the time, that was the best program.
Yeah, I spoke at that one year. And when I walked in, all the students are like, well, let's see what you can do, because Guy Fieri was here yesterday. I'm like, oh, geez, the pressure's on. But they pull people in to that school to come and present. And
so international school, you get a lot of the Chinese, you get a lot of the Koreans that come out, and then you get people from the U.S. that go there. It's a great program. Main reason is the backyard is the Las Vegas Strip.
Yeah.
So, there's placements, there's job placements, there's management training programs.
And do most of people they go there and then do they just feed right into the Strip?
A lot of them do, yes.
A lot of them do because the opportunities are there.
Yep. And a lot of them actually go overseas as well. A couple of my classmates end up going overseas to work for MGM or the Sands.
Got it.
So it's a greeting ground for all the young kids. So I ended up graduating. I did the management training program at Panda Express.
Right on.
Great program, great company to work for.
These guys are a great company.
I still love their product, and I love everything that they do. Then I worked at Mandalay Bay.
Okay.
All my friends were pool attendants, and I was like, you know what? I need a summer job. Let's do this. Went out there, did it for a season. I told the boss, I said, I want to go in the cabana department. And it took a year, but I finally got into cabanas and worked there for about a year. And then Chris's wife, Stacy, got hired on, and we ended up working the same section together, which is like the prime section, the beach. We call it the beach. And
you owned it.
We owned the beach. We owned the beach, and we had all the chairs in front of the beach. That was our reserve seating area. So we did that. And then one day, Stacy told me that they were going to open a restaurant, and it was literally 5 minutes away from my house. I was like, go do it. I'm going to hang out here for a little bit. And I did another year at the pool. And then I saw what Chris did, and he was pretty successful at it. So I was like, you know what? It's my time to leave. So I ended up opening a crepe and waffle shop.
Okay.
A Japanese style crepe shop. It was the first one in Las Vegas. There's probably 3 or 4 of them now. Told my dad, he said, cool, go find a lawyer and talk to the lawyer. And the lawyer told me, be ready to file bankruptcy. So I was be prepared. It's coming. He's like, be ready. And my dad told me, hey, guess what? You're young enough. You can start all over if it doesn't work out. I did that. Did really well. I sold it at year 4.5 for full price.
And you didn't go bankrupt.
Didn't go bankrupt.
Okay. So
learned
the
attorney
a lot. Did not know what he was talking about.
Yeah. Learned a lot. And then during that time, I think I had maybe 2 months off. Chris calls me and he asked me if I want to do a taco shop with him. So that's how we got to the taco shop point.
Okay.
And Lee wasn't too happy with the location we chose with our first place. We opened with all of our life savings. Like we went
Which sounds about right.
We went all in. I opened the door to my first restaurant, and I couldn't have done it without my wife, Stacy. We did all in. And when we opened the doors, I had $500 in my checking account. And I was like,
let's go and give it a shot.
Nothing wrong is going to happen.
No.
But we made it work. 5 years, working nonstop.
Well, desperate times, desperate measures. I mean, when you have $500 in your account, you're like, we got to make this work or we won't eat.
Yep.
I mean, you work hard.
I was thinking we lived close by to the cafe. So I was like, you know what? I could sell my car and I could just walk or bike to work. And then I was like, how am I supposed to go to Restaurant Depot if I can't go and do this, But
so your first taco shop, though, was Me Gusta Tacos.
Me Gusta Tacos.
Which Me Gusta Tacos. So
no doubt.
I liked the name. And you guys opened it up in Green Valley.
We did, yeah. In Henderson in Las Vegas, 770 square feet. We did over $1 million in sales.
Sheesh.
That's
was a lot of revenue out of 770.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it was Lee made that kitchen work. I looked at it, I'm like, I don't know how we can make this work. And everything was stacked. Every piece, every square foot was a usable, efficient space. And then we opened up another location across town. We did a single unit franchise and that we opened it, we ran it. And then a year later we did a single unit franchise. And that's where I kind of found out that franchising is extremely difficult.
Very hard.
I thought it was a little bit easier.
Yeah, and it's not for everybody, and it's also a timing thing. I think that if you do it at the right time, it can make sense. But man, it's so hard when you're a young company.
Yeah, and I just don't think we were prepared for it. And then it was like right during COVID, they sold their lease someone came in and offered them a boatload of money, more than what the restaurant was worth. And that actually restaurant, I think it's already gone out.
Yeah, I think they bought the lease. They didn't open for 9 months. And then once they opened, in 6 months, they failed.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, so your Me Gusta Tacos. How the hell did we get to Farmstead? How does that even enter the minds?
In between that, we opened up a wine and cocktail lounge called The Local.
That's right.
And that's still operational to this day. We own that. It's just a small 1,000 square foot wine bar right next to Me Gusta Tacos in the district in Green Valley. And then when COVID hit, my family, my wife and I, and our 2 boys now, Preston and Cameron, 8 and 6, we decided to move to St. George. We loved Southern Utah. It's
beautiful.
It's just amazing.
Yeah.
And when our kids were going into school, we just thought about, my mom's a 3rd grade school teacher in Clark County, Las Vegas. And we're like, we don't think that this Clark County School District is
the best,
probably the best.
Yeah.
So we made a move, and Lee stayed in Las Vegas. We opened up what was Farmstead in 2021, early 2021. We did all the construction and stuff in 2020 when everything was being shut down and stuff.
Middle of the pandemic.
Yeah. We recruited a phenomenal baker. His name was Chris Heron. And we were kind of off to the races.
So Farmstead, how did you guys come up with the name Farmstead initially?
It was literally Lee and I saying, we suck at names. We have no creativity with this.
It's so hard.
Yep. And our baker was like, why not this? And he showed us, and we're like, can we get a website for it? Farmstead Bakery? Can we get Instagram, TikTok, all that?
All of it was available. So you're like, we'll just take it.
Yeah. And then,
so it was Chris's idea, Farmstead.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Not this Chris, the other Chris.
Yeah, the other Chris Heron, the baker.
Yes.
So you guys are like, great, let's do it. So you took the location, the first location in St. George is where?
So that's in downtown St. George,
on
Tabernacle and 200, right across the street from the courthouse.
How big is it?
2,200 square feet.
Okay. I mean, when you're there, it doesn't feel big. I mean, 2,200 square feet, sometimes you go into a location, you're like, oh, this feels large. The way that one's configured, it feels a little tighter, which I feel is actually one of the benefits of the place. I think it's magical because it feels a little tight and intimate, and it feels busy as hell all the time when you're in there as well. But I actually love that location. And the thing is it's such an abnormal location too. If you're looking at real estate, I think you'd go drive around and you'd be like, probably not that spot, right? You would. Yeah. You guys saw it as an opportunity as well. And so you jumped into that location. It's turned out to be obviously very, very impressive sales and reception. But so you come up with Farmstead, and initially when you launch it, was it the same menu as it is today, or what did you have on the menu, and then how did that morph?
It's pretty similar to how it is today, but we've always kind of tweaked here and there. I mean, we've always gone back to the drawing board on a couple things where it's like, hey, you know what do you think of this? How's the reception from our customer, our guests about this? So for us, I don't think it's taking anything personal about our product. I think that's where a lot of restaurants kind of go wrong, is when they take things super personal about their product. And it's like, okay, well, let's just look at this from an outside perspective and see what is special or not special about this.
Yeah, I like how he says that, because I think a lot of times people will say, well, no, we have to sell that quiche because that quiche is my mom's recipe quiche. And it doesn't matter. If people are not buying it, they don't like it, don't serve it, don't make it, get it off your menu. And so many founders that we meet with the brands, it's like, I realize that you think that this restaurant revolves around that item or these few items, but you're not selling it. So don't have it. So I think it's good that you guys have honed into what the customers like you for. But I will tell you, you guys open that. Obviously, I've been in the restaurant business for a long time around here, especially, not only nationwide, but here locally. And there's a bunch of people that are kind of a conglomerate of people from Idaho to Salt Lake County to Utah County, even southern, middle of Utah. They all go down to St. George. They go to St. George for their vacation, their golf, whatever it is about that location. People just go there because that's where they vacation. And I swear, there was probably in 22, 23, 24, even in those years, people shooting me messages like, Andrew, you've got to go check out this place called Farmstead. I heard that so many times. And I'm like, yeah. I'm not getting back into the bakery business. I kept on saying that. I was like, it's a bakery. I'm not getting into the bakery business. So I actually was like anti coming to meet you guys way early on. But I do remember there was a time that I actually had some delivered to me by someone, and I ate them. Like, it was pretty dang good. Like, so I did know Farmstead. And then it was just this last year that one of our beloved investors and good friend of yours too, or became a good friend of yours.
Yep.
Customer, right? Him and his wife were customers of yours. But they would come in because they have a home in St. George. And he called me and says, Andrew, you really have to look at this Farmstead. It's really unique and special. I'm like, why? And he goes, well, and the interesting thing, I remember what he told me, he's just like, the product is great. Like that's important. But he said, I'll tell you, I haven't ever walked into a bakery where you feel great when you're in there. The people are all smiling. They're all so attentive to us and our needs and our wants, but we're so in and out so quickly. They're fast and efficient in there. Never felt how wicked fast any place can be like that. And when he told me that, I'm like, well, that doesn't exist. Not in bakery. Doesn't exist that you can have great quality, great hospitality and fast, or speed, efficiency. So I'm like, well, I got to check this out. So just so you guys know, that's how that was my introduction to Farmstead. Is people would always tell me about it. I'm like, I'm not doing it because I'm not doing bakery. It's just so hard. But when he told me those things, I'm like, okay, I've never seen that before. Because usually when you walk into a bakery, it's a little bit discombobulating. It's inefficient. You're waiting for someone to say, what do you want? And it's just not friendly.
Yeah.
And when there's a long line, you're like, ugh, this is going to take me a half hour to just get an order in. And then I have to wait for my food to come out for another 10, 15 minutes. It's just not efficient anywhere. I don't care what bakery it is out there. I just don't feel like any of them are really that efficient. So that's how I enter this story, that you guys were building this incredible brand together. But when you guys started Farmstead then, so you recruited Chris, Lee's down running Me Gusta Tacos.
Uh-huh.
You guys decided to sell that so that we can speed up to the Farmstead story.
Yep.
You guys ended up selling that though.
Yes.
You kept local. And then did you just say, well, I'll stay down here and run local, or I'll come up and let's do Farmstead together and expand that? Like, how did that?
No, we Farmstead was open while the local was open as well.
Got it.
So I was running Me Gusta and the local, and then coming up one day a week to help out with them at Farmstead.
Okay.
But then once we sold Me Gusta, it was 4 days a week.
I'm coming up.
Yep.
Yeah,
so you would literally, you stayed in Vegas, you live in Vegas, but
Yep.
you would just drive up to St. George and just stay there and help when you could.
Yeah.
But you guys were kind of going back and forth, straddling them both.
Yep.
Got it.
Yeah. So when we were open that first year, it was just going like this, and
Just growth.
We couldn't keep up. We were open 7 days a week, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. We made everything on site. And what do you think that kitchen was? 1,000 square feet?
Yeah, that's the
Max.
reason why the space feels a little bit smaller than 2,000
Yeah.
square feet, because a lot of it is dedicated
Is
to
that
the kitchen. Yep.
Yeah. But you were making all of those different products in the back of that place.
Yes.
Everything.
It's wild.
24/7 operation. We had someone baking
Something
something
back there.
24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
That's wild.
And I'm just looking at it and I'm like, Lee, if we go to another location, we're going to have to hire another baker. We're going to have more square footage because, and then you're dealing with two bakers, and
How do you
two
keep consistency.
consistency is key, right? So we couldn't be consistent. And then you're dealing with egos, right? With baker, I do it this way. I do it this way. I'm like, there's got to be a better way.
Double the equipment.
Double the equipment.
Yep.
Of course, I don't
live that world.
I didn't think of it double the equipment, but Lee, of course, that's where his
We have to have two mixers, not one.
Yeah. And then at the end of the first year, with Chris, who tragically passed away, it was kind of like we have to do something to. We're not going to quit.
To replicate this.
We're not going to quit. We're not going to close. Ben, who is our head baker, has been with us since day one. Marie, who is our executive pastry chef, they were like, no, there was no quit, right? After Chris passed away, it was like, let's just keep going and make this better and better and better. And then we decided when we sold Me Gusta, we said, we need to do a warehouse and we need to do a central baking facility to make sure everything is consistent. And that's where we.
Was there, so with your head baker, Ben, and then Marie is your head pastry chef as well,
Mm-hmm.
was there trepidation with them to do it that way? Or did they like that idea of doing a production kitchen, controlling quality and
They
efficiency?
wanted more space.
They wanted more space.
They
That's
needed
all they
space.
cared about.
They needed
Give
space.
us space.
They needed space. Marie had probably 2 6-foot tables for half the day. And then Ben had an 8x10 walk-in freezer and an 8x10 walk-in cooler. They just wanted space.
Yeah. So if you gave them more space, they were going to be happy.
Yes.
Well, so I got to be honest with you. And I think I told you guys this, but so when I flew down with Kevin, our investor friend, and we went to, you guys call it the warehouse, but it's a commissary kitchen. So anybody who's listening, it is a commissary. It's a hub and spoke model that you guys use. I was a little anti that as well, because usually when I walk into commissary kitchens, they're not organized. They're kind of messy. The amount of waste that is in commissaries is pretty high most of the time because people are trying to figure out their pars. They're not run very well. And I've never really seen very many of them run well. And everybody says, oh yeah, we have a commissary kitchen. And I go into them and I'm like, this is like a hobby for you guys here. I remember walking into your commissary kitchen, and I think you know this, but my mouth was literally just open. Like, what is going on here? It was so well put together. Congratulations. Do we blame him for that? Lee?
That's all Lee.
Yeah, it's all
That's
Lee.
100%.
So Lee, congratulations.
Thank you.
But it was the best I've seen anywhere I've seen any commissary kitchen in the nation is in southern Utah. It was organized, clean. I felt like I was in a restaurant supply house where you go like to a rack and you're like buying spatulas and spoons and and bowls and stuff. I'm like, oh, so this is how you organize your stuff in between making your food too. And Marie and her team, it was almost like they were in a culinary school, like she was teaching. And Ben and the breads that they were making, it was better than any bread we had ever made in any of our 50 bakeries or that we had owned before. I just walked around going, how in the hell did you guys do this? I mean, it was incredible. And I don't know if I ever told you guys that or not, or you're hearing it for the first time here on my own podcast, but at the end of the day, man, that was impressive. And so I remember not only liking the two of you guys, but seeing the operation you guys had put together. I was impressed that you guys had made that many strides that young in a brand's life. Because a lot of brands, it takes them a long time to get to that point. And so kudos to the two of you guys putting together just a world-class operation. It does help, though, that you have world-class baker and pastry chefs. Right?
No doubt.
For sure. The team
it just
is huge.
does. The chefs that you guys have pulled on, I'll say chefs because I call them all chefs, but baker and pastry chef. Tell us real quick about Ben and then Marie, because their talent that they bring to this brand made me go, okay, this is no joke. Like these people bring in some real horsepower, right? So why don't you tell me real quick about Ben and you can talk to me about Marie.
Ben, he was brought in by Chris Herron. Chris said, if I do this project, I have one person I want to bring, and it was Ben. Ben was a baker at Bouchon, Las Vegas.
Bouchon's a very well-known high-end
phenomenal. Yeah.
shop.
Thomas Keller, Michelin stars. And he worked there for 12 years, I believe, maybe 14.
Yeah,
12
only,
or 14.
only 12 or 14.
Only 12 or 14.
Only 12 or 14.
He moved
learned
over,
a couple things.
He moved over to the Wynn after that, head baker at the Wynn.
So the Wynn.
And yeah, just
Just
the
the
Wynn,
Wynn.
supplying all their fantastic restaurants.
I mean, every time you look at any products in the Wynn, even like you walk up, you're like, is that real food? Because you think it's like made food that they make it look real, and then no, it's like that's how good it is.
Yeah, and I remember my first conversation with Ben, and I said, "Hey, look, I know we aren't much right now. This is before we even opened,
But take a chance.
But please believe in our abilities to do this, and we're not going to go anywhere unless it's with you, and you're going to take us, you're going to help us, we're going to do it together." And he's like, "I'm in." And we couldn't afford much at the time. They were in Chris and Ben were in a 500 square foot apartment, sharing a bedroom, and they just rotated shifts. And like I said, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., 7 days a week.
What a stud, man.
He's awesome.
What a stud for like believing and like just taking a chance and going for it.
No doubt. No doubt.
I even like him more, and I want to make it work out for him even
For
more
sure.
so now. And I'm sure Marie's
amazing.
the same. So tell me about Marie.
Yeah, so Marie, she came on board with us. She's opened a ton of restaurants for Gordon Ramsay. She's a Michael Mina chef. She also worked for Alain Ducasse. She worked with Chris actually at Mix.
Okay.
That's how we met. That's
met her
how
there.
yep.
But
So a couple like known chefs.
and Marie also worked at the Wynn.
Okay.
So
The
she
Wynn.
supplied desserts for I think 18 outlets at the Wynn.
Sheesh.
And then Chef Chris, I think we have to go back to his story. culinary school trained. Bouchon Bakery. He was in charge of Bouchon Vegas, Bouchon Napa. He was on the U.S. baking team. His talent is just phenomenal.
It's incredible. So you have these two individuals that are really leading out both the pastries and, of course, the breads and the bakery department in southern Utah, St. George. And the likes of those types of chefs in our industry, they go to the big cities, right?
Yeah.
They just do. I feel like you find them in the LA markets and New York markets and Chicago and Atlanta. And that's where they go, in Dallas. And they go to the Michelin star restaurants and they kind of get stuck in that vein. I think it's really cool to have met Ben and Marie and see their passion for building something, though. And the way that you guys have treated them to make them feel like they're the fabric of the brand, I think is the reason why they stay, right? And I see the opportunity ahead of them to create a brand that they can put their fingerprint on. Do you feel like that's why they're
100%?
I think that is the big thing is create.
Yeah.
Right. I think it's such a big deal for someone like Ben, someone like Marie, and our team who is so happy to be creating things, and they know they could be creative. It's not, well, we have to do it this way. We have to do it this way. It's like, okay, well, show us how you would do it. We aren't bakers. You know, Lee and I took one baking class at the San Francisco Baking Institute.
You guys probably crushed it.
And did I tell you this story?
Yeah, you told me.
And the lady's like, "Do you have any question?" I said, "Well, it's the end of the class. You know, it's a week long. How do you think I was on a scale of 1 to 10?" She's like, "You're a 1." Yeah. Dead face, looked at me.
Not even a 2. Just you're a 1.
Not even a smile afterwards. She like dead serious. You're a 1. And I knew, you know, I'm a front of house person. Okay, I'm not. And she was like,
"So when you go
your
into
baguettes were the worst I've ever seen."
Yeah. So when you go in, the product is not from Chris. Chris is not making the product.
I am not. I stay out of the kitchen. I'm like, give me what are the tools that you need to succeed?
Yeah.
I'm here to help you.
That right there, that statement is what a good leader, they see and they understand is if you can get great people, just say, "What do you need?" and just get out of their way.
And it's not about me.
No,
it is not about me. And I see it all the time in our industry. The owners sometimes think it's all about them. And it's not. It is not all about
Well,
them.
I've always said, you know, being in the leadership or the foundership role, you know, there's the pyramid, right? And everybody's like, "Well, we're at the top of the pyramid." And it's like, actually, the pyramid is reversed. So it's kind of a point. And we're at the bottom of the pyramid, right? The leader, the founders, you're here and you're supporting the organization above you. You're not at the top. You're at the bottom. Correct. And you're supporting it on the top of your head. Mm-hmm. That's how I feel always. I never feel like I'm the boss and everyone reports to me. I'm like, no, I'm holding it, trying to keep it from toppling over, you know? And so it's the right approach that you guys have taken. Anyway, I'm blown away. I leave, I go back to Salt Lake, sit down with my team, and I'm like, and I talked to Shauna too. I'm like, "Hey, I think that we need to go take a look at this farmstead. This is nuts." She goes, "Seriously, bakery and cafe?" I'm like, I know what you're thinking, but you just got to get on the plane and you got to go down and you got to check this out. It's unbelievable. And the talent is just great. And the founders are great. And really, when we look for any brand, and I think we've told this to you guys before, we just look for great founders first, right? Like if the two of you guys were real difficult and I could tell that the people didn't like you, we would never have had a second meeting. And for us, I'm like, no, I want to work with you guys. I left that day. I'm like, I wanted to spend more time with the two of you. And so, we've met with 1,000+ founders.
Yeah. I think that feeling too with us was mutual.
Yeah.
I remember us taking a car ride up to Springdale, which was like 45 minutes or an hour away. And Andrew's like crammed into the back of that SUV. I was like, "What is he doing in the back?" And he's like, "You're like, I got it. I got the back. I'll take the back." And then we just started chatting and I'm like, "Man, what a wealth of knowledge you are." And it was just like, after that, I was like, "Man, we'd be stupid not to do something with Savory."
Well, so then that's where we jump into the story. So we want to do a deal. I call you up and say, "Hey, we'd like to do something." And we had a great conversation that one time. It's like, this is how we like to structure our deals. This is how we would want to partner with you guys. It's very important for us at Savory, as everybody knows. We just won't do this unless the founders stick around, that they're engaged, that they want to lean in. And I was really excited to see how excited you guys were to, let's go build this together. Like, we want to be part of this and not sit on the sidelines. And so that was also intriguing to me. So we lean into it. We start doing diligence, which you always have to do. Mm-hmm. And the diligence was good, but we ran into a couple, as we called it at the very beginning, Lee, hiccups.
Yep.
You said that they were barriers and they were great. They were challenges. But let's talk about the challenge. The number one challenge that we found in the business is that people loved this name. Like it was almost like in the fabric of their love for St. George and your bakery was the name Farmstead. So you had the St. George location, you had one on Hurricane that was just opening, that is now open and doing great, and then Springdale you had open. And you had this incredible commissary warehouse that was ready to add, 5-10 more units like immediately. So I'm like, this thing is ready to go. And then we hit this wall, and the wall is shit. They don't own the trademark for Farmstead. And so I called you up and said, hey, you don't have a trademark on this. Let's check and see what you own. And we checked, and you didn't own it. And your response to me was interesting because I think that people need to hear this. And I want always my podcast to be not just interesting to hear stories of how you guys got to where you're at today, but also what challenges there were that were created by decisions that you made earlier, so that people that are listening going, man, I got to jump on that right now. You thought when we talked, you're like, well, I bought the domain. I got the website up. I had the Instagram handle. Of course I'm protected, right? I mean, that's kind of what you just think as an entrepreneur that you don't understand the laws around trademark, like the true laws. I know you know what a trademark and a copyright is, but you're like, since I got that, don't I own it? And the answer is
no.
You do not own the name if you can just get a website address, which is crazy that the person that owns it didn't own the domain, right? Or the Instagram handle. So we were just like, okay, well, we got to find out who owns this. We did some research together. We found the person that owned it, and they were in California. And so you got to just tell the story real quick because it's crazy to hear the depths that you went to try. But we had talked about, well, let's go talk to the original founder or owners of the trademark because they hadn't done really much with it. It was just a 1-unit operation in California. And so what did you do to try to get the trademark?
Well, it wasn't a bakery. It was a sit-down restaurant. It was totally different from what we were doing. And so through many conversations together, I wrote a couple emails. I tried reaching out, no avail.
Radio silence.
And so I said, I'm just going to go out there and I'm just going to talk to these people, this group, and see if we could work something out.
So you get in the car and you drive 8 hours or whatever.
Yeah. So I flew up, early flight, and I knocked on the door on a Tuesday morning at 9 a.m. And we could say I wasn't greeted with open arms.
You weren't welcomed.
I was not welcome. And I explained who I was. I called earlier in weeks prior, and I said I'm going to be up during this time, and I would love to sit down and just try to work something out. And yeah, that didn't go as planned. I couldn't even say anything to anyone.
Nobody met with you. Nobody would talk to you.
No one.
How long did you sit around?
The entire day. The entire day. 10 hours.
So Chris, you were sitting there for 10 hours hoping that you get someone that would talk to you.
I was literally, there's a movie with Will Smith where he's sitting outside and he really wants that job. I forget what it is.
Pursuit of Happiness.
Pursuit of Happiness. I felt like I'm just going to wait until I come across someone important. I'm going to talk to him and we're just going to, see what happens. That never happened. They did,
ask you to leave.
Yes.
To put it nicely.
Yes, they did ask me to leave. And that was that. I drove back home. And I said, okay, well, this is going to be a blessing. This is going to be a blessing in disguise for us. And we're going to get through it and we're going to be better because of it.
Which is really a testament to how you just, it's your perspective on life, really, but just how you view the world. It was a challenge, but you saw it as it's a challenge that we're going to overcome and it's going to be even better. And honestly, I believe that as we sit here today, it did turn out that way. And I think it's because of the way that you guys handled it. So you could have left there and felt defeated and it's not going to happen. And I told you, I'm like, I cannot invest as Savory and put our name behind something that does not have trademark protection. Just cannot. And for us, we remember sitting in our office and they're like, well, do you want to do this deal if it's not Farmstead? And in a moment Like right when they asked me, like, no, I'm not doing it unless it's farmstead. And it was because there's so much goodwill in a brand, right?
Mhm.
You guys set it up. You have years of people going, when we go to St. George, we go to Farmstead. Like it was just in their mind. And I'm like, if you break that, how much goodwill disappears? And then do people think, oh, it's different, I don't like it anymore, when it's the exact same product, the exact same company. So I was really nervous about it because most companies can't cross that chasm, right? They can't jump it without losing something in that chasm, right? Goodwill, loyalty of the guests coming back. Sales usually will go down. I've watched it. I've watched companies try to do it. So I was real concerned, but I thought if we do this the right way, it could be a good thing. So I think it's probably smart for us to explain how you went about getting your new name. You guys did 99% of the work. Our team was giving you some advice on how we would go through the process. But tell us how you got to Bonrue using the guests, because I thought that was brilliant.
Yeah, well, I mean, really, we knew we had to change our name regardless at some point now that we didn't have a trademark. So without a deal with Savory or with a deal with Savory,
you knew you had to change.
We had to change it. And yeah, I mean, we reached out to our customers and our guests, and we reached out to a couple hundred of them, and we just said, we need to change our name. And
will you help us?
Will you help us? And they helped us, and they gave us great advice. It was honest, it was sincere, and we really got people involved who cared about our brand.
Which is crazy too when you reach out to the guests too, that they literally like jumped up and said, we want to help. Like they felt so much ownership of your brand, and having spent so much money with you guys and having to be part of their family and their lives now, they wanted to help because they wanted you to see you prevail, which I thought was cool for a customer base, our patrons, to feel like they were true family and like owners of your business. I really was impressed to see that, which even made me more impressed with your company, your product, and you guys, is that people really were booing it behind you. The other thing is I know a lot of those customers that came because they said, oh man, we love Chris because we see him there and he talks to us and we know him and there's a relationship there too, right? Like because he's always out there in the front talking to the guests. That's not something I even do at our restaurants. I'm not on the front talking to people. He is. There's other people in my team that will do that. I'm more behind the scenes looking at the operations, and to see those people really rise up and say, we want to help, was really, really cool. You guys did a couple focus groups.
Yep.
You honed in on a couple different names.
Yeah.
So that it was not, here, these are 50 names. What do you think? You guys honed in on 2 or 3. And when you threw up Bonrue on that screen, what was the reaction from people initially?
I think when at the very beginning of our focus groups, it's like, okay, we have to move on from this name. They're like, and then by the end,
dang it, Chris.
when we gave them Bonrue, they were like, I kind of like that more. Well, why do you like it more? Well, it's kind of like European. It's kind of like fancy, but it's not too fancy. It kind of is feminine, but it's kind of masculine. And I kind of like it. I like it.
Yeah.
And
you didn't think you were going to get that reaction.
No.
Were you nervous about that too, Lee?
No, we were all nervous about it.
You were like, oh no, what are they going to say?
Correct.
Yeah. And then several hundred people. I mean, it was overwhelming.
Overwhelming.
It was like 95% of the people were like, this is the name. This is the name.
Which is crazy because in my mind, when you do a sample set, typically, it's very mixed initially because people just cannot let go of it. Or if you throw up a couple good options, it's 60-40, 55-45. It's usually tighter than that, or 70-30.
Yeah.
Dude, it was like 96%. I'm like, wait, did they take that survey the right way from those guests? Yeah, 96% of your people sitting in front of you were like that one, that's it.
Yep.
It wasn't even an option, the other ones. We're not even going to say the names because it wasn't even an option.
No, at that point, it wasn't at all. Like after the end, after we did our due diligence, it was overwhelming. And that's how kind of we've worked the entire time. Even when we develop a menu, it's what do the people want? What do the guests want? We're not the boss. They're our
the
boss. They speak to us. They let us know.
So Bonrue, tell us real quick, what does Bonrue mean? Because I actually like the meaning of it too. It's a made up word.
Made up word. Yep. Bon meaning good, rue meaning street or avenue, and the way we interpret it, it is almost like a good place, a good way.
It's a good way,
a good direction.
good direction to be here.
Yeah, yeah. And I love the name. It's easy to say.
Your boys like it.
My boys are, Dad, can we go to Bonrue? It's great. They love it.
And so you guys prepped everything. You signage for buildings, cups, shirts, gears, uniforms, hats, everything within like 3 weeks.
Yep.
And then you made the transition how? Just like overnight.
Overnight. We had painters, we had sign companies,
all lined
website, everything's lined up.
And then you guys did a conference, or like not a conference, but a post.
We did
where Chris was saying this is what happened, so that the rest of the guests out there would understand why you had to change the name. And it was a sincere, like, listen, I didn't understand we needed trademark protection, and I've tried, and we have to change it, and the new name is this, and you introduced it to everybody. And
yeah, I think my whole goal just with our team and who I am as a person is just to be 100% transparent and just be 100% honest. I own up to every one of my mistakes. My team will tell you that because I make a lot of them. But it was on me. It was my fault. We didn't do it, and we're going to learn from it, and we're going to get better. And this is life.
Yeah,
this is life.
That's how it is.
And
you own up to it, you move forward.
Yeah. And now we're here.
And it was cool because you posted on a website, you posted it on your Instagram handle for all of the customers to see.
Yeah.
And I remember monitoring because I was concerned. We still hadn't done a deal. I was like, we're going to see how this goes. Yep. And I don't really sit there and look at people's comments ever on posts, to be honest. I don't have time to do that. But I sat there and read every comment that came through on the Farmstead, now Bonrue post or Instagram page. It was unreal what people's response were on the comment sections. It was just like, oh my gosh, that's so sad, but we love the name, or we got you, or we're going to support you still, and don't even worry about the name. We love the product and love you guys. It was a love fest on these comments. I'm like, this is amazing. I've never seen a transition from one name that people feel ownership to a new name. The support, the care, the love for the brand, the love for you guys. It was wild.
And you know what's weird, Andrew, is I had everything planned. I downloaded a teleprompter app on my phone, and I was like, I'm going to read this, and it's going to be nice and, whatever. And I read it, and I'm like, this is stupid. I just need to speak from the heart, and this is who I am, and this is who we are as a brand. And that's what I did. And I did it in, one take. It was just like, no, there's no question. Like, this is the best way forward because this is the way we've always been, and this is the way I am.
But I think that you could tell that, though. I could tell that it was a one take deal. Could tell it was from the heart. You weren't reading anything. But I think guests, they know. We're all guests of other customers or of other restaurants too, and we know when people are authentic or not, transparent or not.
Yeah, and I think you have to put yourself in the customer's position, in the customer's shoes, and it's like, what would I want to see? I wouldn't want to see a rehearsed response or anything like that. I'd want to see sincerity.
So have you, since you changed the name then, have you felt anybody come to you guys and say, oh, what the hell? No, not at all.
I think it's been positive in store. For us, the product hasn't changed.
Yeah.
And the guests have noticed that. They're like, it's the same Farmstead. We still get people, I think a lot of posts, they'll just write Farmstead, formerly Farmstead, and then Bonrue.
Which I've seen that too, which I think is good because they're saying, hey, they're actually marketing it for you.
Correct.
Like Bonrue, formerly Farmstead, they're like helping you with the transition when they say that, which I think is great. Because there still was goodwill with Farmstead. And people that are like, what happened to Farmstead? It's like, it's the same thing. We had to change for these reasons. And people are like, oh, great. I think it's great. You were a little nervous about it.
We all were. I think that morning, everybody woke up and we're all on social media looking. And I remember calling downstairs and I was like, hey, how's the response? And they go, it's been great.
Yeah.
Not one negative one. Guests are coming in.
Like last week, we had a lady walk in and she's like, oh my gosh, it's a new name. Is it new owners? And I'm checking her out. I was like, no, you're talking to the owner. And she's like, oh my God, she gave me a hug. She went around the counter and gave me a hug. She's like, it's the same thing. It's the same thing. And I was like, it is the same exact thing. I go, the only thing that we will change is we will never stop trying to get better. And she's like, oh my gosh, okay. And then she went back. She bought more sourdough. She bought more donuts. She's like, oh, it's just the name. It's just the name. And she's like, I kind of like it. I was like, cool.
That's awesome. Well, I got to be honest. Going through that exercise, gave me more conviction. There's been some of our investors and others that know Savory in the F&B community that have said, so you bought a brand that just went through a name change, whatever. They just will never know the story unless you listen to this podcast of what I was watching, what I was observing, and the data and the details and what I saw with that name change and how the guests cared so much about this brand made it just a sealed deal in my mind. So I remember calling up the team and I'm like, get the deal closed. We're doing this deal. And they're like, really? I'm like, you don't want to watch it for 6 months or whatever? I'm like, nope, I've seen enough. Let's do the deal. So just so you guys know, that was the behind the scenes for me. Is I was like, I already knew I wanted to do business with the people and the product. I didn't know how the guests were going to feel. So I'm so happy that the guests showed up, right? For us, for us all. So we sealed our deal this last month. Fun day, exciting day for us as well. The team absolutely loves the product. As you know, yesterday when you brought a box of them, they were gone in like 4 minutes. There was crumbs for mice after, but we're just super excited about the brand. Real quick for people that don't understand the brand, everybody's been to a bakery. The thing that's really impressive, and I want you guys to talk about the product itself, but as a guest, imagine walking into a shop and seeing 20, 30, 40, 50 people in line, and you typically will just get that, I don't know if I have time. Mm-hmm. The thing that's really impressive what the Farmstead's been able to do is to give you a fresh product, a great variety, and move that line. I remember standing in line and a guest that was one of your regulars could see that I was looking at the line, and they told me, nobody else told me, they told me, don't worry, you'll be out of here in 5-10 minutes. I'm like, seriously? And she's like, yeah, watch. So the lady said that to me. And then the next time I was in the store with you, I came out and I'm like, whoa, look at that line. You're like, yeah, this line will be through in 10 minutes. Everybody just knows that it's going to do that because it's kind of the expectation. Why is it so wicked fast? And how are we going to change the bakery game? Because it is one of the unlocks for this industry.
Yeah, it was one of those things where, me being in the front of house a lot, I always read kind of like nonverbal communication, right? So when a customer comes in, they're like, oh, there's a line. And then they kind of contemplate, should I just go somewhere else?
Just walk out, yeah.
And I always go up to them and I'm like, hey, listen, set your watch. If you're not out of here in 7 minutes, I'll buy your stuff. And their look is like, wait, what?
Seriously?
And it's like 4 minutes and 50 seconds or whatever it is.
They're through there.
But I could give that, I could punt that to you, Leon. Why?
Yeah. Why is it so fast?
It's just efficiencies. We make sure that our display case is always full. Our team is in the back making more product and we're just filling that up. It's training with staffing, some management team. They know where to put the correct amount of employees, or we call them pastry concierge, in the right spots. We develop systems. We execute on the systems. That's going to be the biggest thing.
It's also so you have these beautiful cases because that's kind of that is your show, right?
For sure.
You walk in and you have these beautiful 4 or 5 cases all in the row. You have tell people that can't see it while they're listening to this, what is in the case?
Yeah. So your first case when you walk in are going to be our sandwiches. So we offer 5 sandwiches, 2 salads. Our next,
all of them made,
all of them pre-made.
No ability to modify.
Unfortunately, no substitutions. But we have enough variety for almost every customer.
Yep. Yeah. So if I want a sandwich, but I don't want tomato on it, I buy it.
You can take it off.
And you can take it off.
Or you can get a sandwich without tomatoes.
Okay.
So we have the options.
Yeah.
Our middle cases are cakes, pies, tarts, in our middle case. And then the most desired case is our third case, which is all of our pastries. Cheese danishes, Queen Amands, guava cheese danishes, croissants, all kinds of good stuff.
Which the Queen Amand is the queen.
That is awesome. That's one of our signature items.
It's the signature
bestseller.
Yeah. And it's one of, if not the best Queen Amand I've ever had. Even if I'm over in Europe, I would put it up against a European pastry shop's Queen Amand.
Correct. It's a super simple item.
It's so good.
Yes.
And one of the reasons we're speed is essential with us. I mean, our menu is our display case.
It is
we
your
don't
display
have
case.
a menu.
You don't have a menu up, which
We don't
another
have a
reason I
menu.
love, your eyes are like gazing at this case of beautiful product and you're just pointing.
Yep.
And you have these pastry concierge over the counter, these cute gals or cute guys, and they're like, what can I get you?
Yep.
And they have a box and they're just putting in what you want. And you're just like, I'll take one of those. I'll take one of those. I'll take a sandwich. I'll take a salad. And then the thing that I thought was really brilliant is that you have a really good, high quality piece of pizza. You can get a slice of pizza too for lunch if you want. And it's incredible how many people order a slice of pizza. You can get a full pizza, but you just have enough of everything to where I can eat here and get a meal.
Mm-hmm.
I can also have a pastry as a dessert if I want, or bring 4 pastries back to the office and share it with my coworkers or whatever. This incredible beverage counter. You have an incredible coffee bean that you guys roast yourselves. The whole thing together is just so unique and it's so fast. But I really believe the thing that sets Bonrue apart now in the game is the hospitality. It's the hospitality and the speed. And I love that you call them pastry concierge, because you just feel like they care about what I want and they're moving fast where I don't feel like I'm being forced to move.
Yeah.
But I feel like they care about my speed too, my time.
I think with the pastry concierge, they understand that they only have about 30 to 45 seconds with the customer. And you have to make that, and it's different from when I grew. My background in the hotel industry.
Yeah,
I had 3 days with a customer, so I had 3 days to get to know that customer, to build that trust, to build that relationship up. And now we have 30 to 45 seconds, and to build a repeat customer in 30 to 45 seconds. Not only do you have to treat them extremely well and be patient with them and point them in the right direction and ask them questions, but the product has to be phenomenal too for them to come back. And I think the hospitality is kind of like a combination of all those things.
Yeah,
how you're greeted at the front door, but how does that customer feel when they hit that door on their way out? Do they think they received great customer service, a great product, and great value? And I think we offer all three of those.
Yeah, you definitely do. So I'm sure everybody's going to wonder as they're listening to this, where are we going? Where are we growing? And it's obviously in the playbook of Savory to buy into brands that we feel have scale on the horizon, right? This is not something we're going to sit on. We're not going to just grow it in St. George and then just leave it there. We saw an opportunity to go up and down the I-15 corridor, all the way up into Idaho, all the way down into Arizona. It's a market that loves their pastries and loves high quality foods. There's a lot of people moving to these segments of the United States, those states. And so we are coming up to Utah County. We are coming up to Salt Lake County. We'll be up in Davis County. We'll be pushing up into Idaho. Obviously, Vegas is on the map too. It's you guys' backyard, but it's one that we'll do when we're ready. And then Arizona. I think Arizona is a market that we're in love with. And then we will, of course, look further into the Midwest as we continue to grow. Franchising, probably not right now, but it's something that we'll consider. We all know how hard it is, but we also want to make sure that we take advantage of the opportunity to bring Bonrue to the masses sooner than later. And so I think that franchising is on the table too. What is the thing that excites you guys both the most about growth?
I personally think it's about developing a team. We talk about it all the time. It's like we can only do so much. We've had conversations about this before where you're only as good as your team and how you teach people and how you develop people. We're in the people industry. We're in the development industry. So for me personally, I love watching people who have started with our company just blossom and grow. I mean, that's my why. I think. So I really enjoy that, and to work with Savory. I think my relationship with Savory so far has just been outstanding.
Well, appreciate it. And I think that the team speaks for themselves, but I would say that's the best team in the industry as far as for growth and scale. So.
Man, I think you're right. It's fantastic.
What about you, Lee? What's most exciting for you?
I think Chris has hit it on the head. I think all of our goals is to train and develop our team to be better than us. So I think with our pastry chefs, with our bakers, with our managers, with our GMs, that's kind of the mindset we all have, is how can we make this next generation of employees or chefs better than us? And that's kind of, we share our skills. I don't hold back on anything that I've learned over my career. I share that with all of our team because I just want them to be the best.
Yeah, I love both of those reasons, and I hope that everybody listening didn't hear you guys say to make money, to build something great, and then sell it and make a ton of money, and it's like, it just can't be the number one driver. And I remember talking to you guys early on. I'm like, these guys are not driven by the money. Money is always a component. Everyone listening, for me personally, for the two of you guys, money is a component. And it should be a component, because if you're not driven by that, you'll build a business that's not successful, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you have to look at the dollars and cents of a business. But it's good that it's not the number one driver, because I've told people before, if it's your number one driver, it's so anticlimactic that once you build it to the point when you make a bunch of money, then you're like, now what? And then you look back and go, did I have good relationships? Did I have purposeful, relationships? Was the journey fun? What did I learn from the journey? You're not going to even think that if you're just focused on the money. So I'm glad that you guys are driven for the right reasons. For me, just in closing, I see Bonrue Bakery really making a dent in the bakery industry and changing the way people perceive bakery. Typically, it's the food's okay, the pastries are okay. As people grow, the quality goes down because there's not attention to detail. They get more slow, they get lagged out, the menus become more and more complex. All of those things about bakeries is what bothers me about the bakery industry. But the thing that's crazy is the bakery industry is kind of coming into this renaissance of, like, people love it and they eat it often. Whether people are on like a diet or not, they're always going to fit into their diet a pastry sooner or later. It's going to be their cheat day. They're going to be with their friends. They're going to be on a vacation, whatever it is. You eat pastries as an American, right? We love our pastries.
Yeah, I think one of the things that is great about a bakery too is it's simple but complex. And it is so old school, right? And I think now at this day and age, people want the simplicity of a bakery, but they love the idea of an old school bakery and an old school way of making things. There's no chemicals involved. It's butter from France or New Zealand is what we get, and it's like a very simple ingredient, but it's so complex and it takes so much talent to do it well that people appreciate that.
Yeah, you see our chocolate croissant or you see our Queen of Mont and you're like, that looks really hard. Like, you couldn't make those in your home kitchen very easy.
Yeah, exactly.
So you're kind of eating a piece of art, which I like too. I honestly think we're going to make a dent in the bakery industry. I'm excited to do that with the two of you guys. The cool thing is too, is we have Restaurantology, our 7th year that we're doing this. We do it for our industry counterparts, for us to teach lessons like this, for us to learn from each other. You guys came last year, right, to that one as well. Hopefully you guys learned some things before we even did our transaction. But at the end of the day, we do it to give back. And this year, you're going to be on stage. We're going to have an attorney up there as well. It's a trademark attorney. And we're going to have our incredible creative team that goes through just the ins and outs of trademarking, IP protection, and the purpose of it, the reason of it, how to do it to make sure you're covered. I'm glad you're going to be the guinea pig for that conversation.
I am more than
you said
happy
you
to
were
be the
willing.
guinea
So
pig.
if you want to learn more about that journey and hear a little more details about that, come to Restaurantology this year. Come and meet Chris and Lee at Restaurantology and our other founder partners as well. September 9th, we're going to do a concert, a little preview before the 10th day, and have some networking as well. It's going to be at the Depot up in Salt Lake. And then on the 10th, we'll have a 3-quarter day conference just for you. So make sure you guys register now, restaurantologysummit.com. And appreciate you guys being with me today. It's going to be exciting.
Had a blast.